Political reflections, Turkey has taken advantage of the United States for many years. They're now holding our wonderful Christian pastor, who I must now ask to represent our country as a great patriot hostage. We will pay nothing for the release of an innocent man, but we are cutting back on Turkey. Mnuchin says more sanctions prepared if the pastor's not released. The Turkish lira, in fact, did extend gains, traded above 7. I think it was at the beginning of the week or the end of last week. It's now at 580. It's been a bit of a recovery, but clearly a lot will depend on how Erdogan moves from here. Over the weekend, last weekend, I said President Trump seems to be relishing his financial warfare strategies. He has Khamenei on the run. Maduro in Venezuela is being attacked by remote-controlled drone. Z suddenly looked ever so fragile. A very interesting blog by J.S. Blokland, Turkey's Currency Crisis, What You Should Know. Excellent contextualization of the situation. My piece over the weekend was Cold Turkey. Erdogan's family name means brave falcon in English, according to Robert Fisk in The Independent. And then he's asking, all because Pastor Andrew Brunson remains under house arrest and therefore allegedly supporting the coup plot, allegedly organized by Erdogan's former colleague, the allegedly mesmeric Imam Mohammed Fethullah Gulen. I don't believe a word of it. Trump made little fuss about Brunson's captivity for many months. It took him almost a year and a half to get into a tantrum about the good Christian family man and missionary in Izmir, whose chief characteristics appear to be nothing but wholesome. Barbecues, picnics, swimming, movies and board games in the evenings, to quote his sister Beth, the typical American family, though living so far away. American evangelical Christians were outraged at the arrest of this godly man. Christianity was on trial, of course. And their favorite president finally tweeted that this innocent man of faith should be released immediately. And so it came to pass that Trump's wrath was visited upon by the Muslim president who locked up a man who was only doing God's work in the comfortable coastal city of Izmir. Double US tariffs on steel and aluminium helped to crash the Turkish lira, which has lost 45% of its value this year. Although Erdogan might also be blamed for his refusal to raise interest rates against inflation, but let's be sane, is all this because of a Presbyterian pastor? No. For here's the real list of Erdogan's crimes. He's buying the Russian S-400 missile system for Turkey, refuses to accept US support for America's Kurdish YPG allies, allowed Islamist fighters to pour over Turkey's border into Syria, along with a lot of weapons, mortars and missiles, to which Washington had no objections at the time, since the US was trying to knock Erdogan's former friend Bashar Assad off his perch. Then, after shooting down a Russian aircraft along the Syrian border in November 2015, for which he was immediately boycotted by Moscow, Erdogan cuddled up to Putin. It was thus the Russians and the Iranians who first warned Erdogan of the impending Gulen coup against him in July 2016. They had been listening to the Turkish military's internal radio traffic and tipped off the Sultan of Istanbul. And now Erdogan is helping Iran to dodge US sanctions, which were imposed after Trump flagrantly tore up the 2015 nuclear agreement, and in a decision demonstrating the cowardly response of the EU's own oil conglomerates to Trump's insanity, has announced he will continue to import Iranian oil. So you can see how things are lining up in the Middle East right now. Erdogan has made good friends out of Putin and Iran's supreme leader, and as an opponent of Saudi Arabia is naturally on the best of terms with Qatar, whose emir, in a miraculous moment which even Pastor Brunson might envy, has just promised an investment of $15 billion. And then saying, set against this horizon, Erdogan doesn't need to be a brave falcon, just a wily old bird. I wrote on my piece in the weekend that he's a Shakespearean figure, slayed enemies real and not real, chest puffed up with pride. He even rescued the Emir of Qatar. Riyadh and Abu Dhabi resent Erdogan's projection of power through Qatar into GCC territory, which they regard as their playpen. The Turks in turn suspect that the Emiratis had a hand in the failed coup attempt against Erdogan in July 2016.